This is a clip from the Playback TV live show every day at 12. Tune in on Playback TV, playback.tv/runitbackphilly. The full show will be posted on the Patreon page, patreon.com/runitbackphilly. No more free work. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's go.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
The Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, lost some players this year. They lost some players this year. Some players were on one-year contracts. You knew that they weren't going to be around. You knew it was possible. You knew it was possible for a lot of these players to be gone. This is what happens. It seems to be happening more and more in the NFL now. One-year contracts, where teams are just taking chances on guys. And hey, look, we can get under the salary cap and we can have all these guys on our roster for an entire year, and we can potentially go win a Super Bowl. So I'm not totally shocked that a lot of these guys walked. But it is what it is. I still have faith in Howie Roseman to turn this around. Howie Roseman turned around the Carson Wentz situation faster than I could have ever imagined. I thought the Eagles were going to go back into that early 90s just basement of being really bad for a long time. But really, if you look at Howie Roseman's track record, he was hired in 2000 by Andy Reid. He hasn't. The team has not been bad. There's been like a year or two in between certain situations. And Howie Roseman made a comment on that recently. He said he doesn't believe in rebuilding. He said something like, we rebuild as we go. I don't like the term rebuilding. We just rebuild as we go. And that's exactly what he did. To go from the 2017 Super Bowl, and then the Carson Wentz debacle and drafting Jalen Hurts, there was really only like a year or two of uncertainty. And we're right back to being a contender. And I talked trash on Howie Roseman a lot for that Jalen Hurts draft pick, and I wasn't sold on Jalen Hurts and all of these things, and this guy proved me wrong. Jalen Hurts proved me wrong, and now I'm of the belief that Howie Roseman is one of the best GMs probably in NFL history, the way that he turned around a couple of these situations. So losing a couple of these players doesn't scare me that much because I have faith that Howie Roseman is going to come right back out swinging. He's going to load up his backpack full of one-year contracts again, and he's going to make it happen. The main thing I want to talk about is the first-round draft pick, the number 10 draft pick, the New Orleans Saints draft pick, another just absolute swindle by Howie Roseman to end up with that pick from the Saints and then still get the player that he wanted in the draft. That was crazy. But a lot of people are talking about Bijan Robinson, the running back from the Texas Longhorns, and every time I see this on Twitter, every time I see this topic brought up, the Eagles should do this, the Eagles should do that, the Eagles should draft Robinson, the Eagles should go running back. We have all the other weapons, we should get a stud running back. I think it's not even worth having the discussion on the internet because it's flat out not going to happen. It's just like when people say Doc Rivers should do this or the Sixers should play this guy at power forward. What's the point of saying these things if you know it's not going to happen? You got to think about the GM and the history of what he does. Howie Roseman, flat out 100%, is not drafting a running back in the first round. So there's no point in even talking about it. I don't think anybody should draft a running back in the first round. I don't think anybody should draft a running back in the first round ever again. NFL running backs have been exposed as expendable. You don't need to spend a first-round pick on a running back. You don't need to pay big money, 4-year max contracts for running backs. They're flashy, they're cool, but it's like a flashy Ferrari that has the same horsepower as like the souped-up Honda Civic. One costs $100,000, one costs $12,000. The Honda Civic does the same thing at the end of the day, which is go fast in a straight line. I don't know if that was a good analogy or not. The main thing you need on an offense is a strong offensive line. You get a strong offensive line that's strong enough to open up those holes wide enough for Lizzo to run through, you can get another 22-year-old running back out of the 4th round to run through that hole. Just take the ball and run forward. I don't need flash. I don't need Barry Sanders back there. Were the Detroit Lions ever good? No. Look, Zeke, no longer on the Cowboys. The Tennessee Titans are trying to trade Derrick Henry. Miles Sanders, no longer on the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just not a thing anymore. Todd Gurley's the last one that got a big contract, and Zeke, and the team had to get rid of him a couple years later. It's not worth it. The Eagles aren't drafting a running back in the first round. They're not paying a running back big money. You got to look at Tom Brady's career. Who the hell were the running backs? Sony Michel? James White? Just get a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield and run through the hole. I think Robinson's great. Freak athlete. The Eagles are not drafting a running back in the first round. The Eagles also have much bigger weaknesses that they need to look at before they would ever consider a running back in the first round. Plus, my guy Kenny Gainwell Kenny Gainwell can get it done. Rashad Penny they signed already? Why would he sign Rashad Penny if he was going to draft a running back? Rashad Penny had 6 starts in 2021 and averaged 119 yards per game. There's potential there. He's only 26. If he's healthy and the Eagles' offensive line is good, there's another good running back. They're not drafting a running back. The Eagles are going to look at safety, linebacker, and defensive line. You lost Kaiser White. You lost TJ Edwards. You lost Javon Hargrave, and you lost Gardner Johnson. They're going number 10, defense, number 30, defense. Unless Howie trades up, but they're going defense, defense. I'm telling you right now, they're going defense, defense. Unless maybe Howie sneaks in another offensive line prospect with that second first-round pick. I would bet money on Georgia's Jalen Carter at number 10. That's where my money would be. If he's available at number 10. If he goes higher than 10, then I get it. But if Jalen Carter's available at number 10, Howie Roseman 100% is drafting Jalen Carter at number 10. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter together. You lost Javon Hargrave. Fletcher Cox is on his way out. Brandon Graham is on his way out. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the same D-line. Then you got Nakobe Dean back there, who should have a breakout season this year with all of the linebackers that we lost. Kaiser White, TJ Edwards. Let's have a whole Georgia Bulldogs defense. Let's do it. Speaking of Jalen Carter, this is from Adam Scheffner today. Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter is visiting the Bears today. In his second visit, he already visited the Eagles. Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said he's declining visit requests for any team drafting outside the top 10. Quote, I'm confident Jalen will go in the top 10. So he already worked out for the Eagles. He's working out for the Bears. The Eagles obviously have their eyes on Jalen Carter. If not him, I think they're going safety. Howie hasn't really prioritized safety in the draft in his career, but if one of the top guys is there at number 10, they might go safety. But it's 100% not running back. It's D-line, linebacker, or safety at number 10. That's what it is. That's where I'm at with it. You give me your thoughts on that in the comments. Last thing about the Eagles, Darius Slay today on the Darius Slay podcast told everybody that he was almost a Baltimore Raven. Now, I'm not sure why he told everybody this. I'm not sure why he thinks we needed to know this. He was like, look, however you want to take it. If you like Darius Slay, I get it. Maybe he came at me on Twitter one time because I told him to stop crying about fans booing. So maybe I have a little bit of animosity here. But these players having podcasts while being active professional athletes is getting annoying. It's just getting annoying. And Darius Slay does a podcast episode and explains the situation with the Eagles and why they released him and then re-signed him, and he wanted an extension, and the Baltimore Ravens made an offer, and he almost took it, and he was kind of saying it in like a braggadocious, like, I almost took it, but I like playing in Philly, so I stayed in Philly, but the offer was nice. The offer was nice. I was this close to being a Baltimore Raven, a different bird, he says. Like, we're supposed to bow down. Oh, thank God you came back because you love us so much. Thank you so much, Darius. Darius Slay's a great player. I'm just saying these are things we don't need to know. These are things that don't need to be said publicly. Like this new era of every professional athlete having a podcast and spilling all the beans. I don't know. It's just annoying me. Just say I love Philly and I'm glad to be back. We don't need to know that the Baltimore Ravens offered you more money and you almost took it, but you love Philly so much, so you came back. Wow, thank you so much.